What's up, guys? Welcome into CrossFire as we get you ready for the 2022 NFL season. Chris Hayre here with you, joined by the Athletics' Dane Brugler. And Dane's going to debate some of the biggest names in football. And my guy, Steve Wyche, is joining us today. You can follow him on Twitter at Wyche89. And guys, the topic today is just a training camp preview as it relates to the Chargers. We have, 4 questions. And number one, the biggest storyline entering training camp. Steve, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say, the defense. They went out and they signed Khalil Mack. They get J.C. Jackson. The two underrated signings, that they made were Sebastian Joseph-Day and, Austin Johnson at defensive tackle. And that's where they just have to get better. We saw at the end of the season, stopping the run, the issues they have that really surfaced, big time when they had to make some plays to get into the playoffs, which they didn't. So getting those two big bodies up front, especially a guy like Joseph-Day, who last year, he missed a lot of last season with the Rams with a pec injury, but he's a very, very, very influential player, right? He should really cover up some things. So, Kenneth Murray and those inside linebackers can make a lot of tackles much closer to the line of scrimmage. So that's important. So I think how this defense is Brandon Staley, the head coach's specialty, how they tighten up things against the run is going to be really the important thing for the Chargers going into the season, because the pass rush, that's going to take care of itself with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa.
Sebastian Joseph-Day really developed under Brandon Staley when he was a defensive coordinator. Yep. And Sebastian himself saying he was having the best year of his career before he got hurt last season. So interested to see how he mixes in with this Chargers defense. Dane, what about you?
Yeah, and that's a great point with the defense. And Staley has said he wants the defense to mirror the offense. And so they've got a lot of work to do there. It's going to start in training camp. For my biggest storyline, though, I want to go with Justin Herbert, because with his talent, his ceiling is it's truly untapped. Nobody in NFL history has more passing touchdowns or passing yards over their first 2 NFL seasons than Herbert. He set the bar high as a rookie, and then he was even better last season. So now looking forward to the 2022 season, second year in the system with Joe Lombardi. The Chargers continue to make upgrades on the offensive line, plug and play interior linemen like Zion Johnson in the first round. And when you look around the division, the Broncos added Russell Wilson, the Raiders added Devontae Adams, the Chiefs, they still have Mahomes and Andy Reid. So some of the best offenses in the league are going to be in that AFC West. And so just out of necessity, it's going to be important for Herbert to take another step in his development, continue to elevate the offense. And so I just want to see if he can continue that upward trajectory that we've seen the last 2 seasons. He certainly has the talent to do it.
Steve, the Chargers are going to rely upon this 2022 rookie class to contribute. A lot of these guys. Which rookie are you most excited to watch from this class?
Isaiah Spiller, the running back. He was so productive at Texas A&M. And you heard Dane just talk about Justin Herbert taking that next step. Well, now they have a bigger running back who can hit the big run, who can do some things in the receiving game. And I think that's just, something that could give the Chargers a different look. Right? The biggest thing in the NFL these days offensively is space, angles, and matchups, right? So if you can give them a look with Spiller, then come in with, with Eckler and do some certain things right there, that can keep defenses on their toes in terms of whether they're playing nickel, whether they're playing base, and how they can manipulate it with Herbert being the talented passer that he is and all those great big wide receivers that they have. So I think Isaiah Spiller is Dane talked about a plug and play guy. I think he's a plug and play guy. You saw him come in as a true freshman at Texas A&M and do big things. I think he could do just the same in Lombardi's system with the Chargers.
And Steve, he may be the missing link to this offense. Austin Eckler had 20 total touchdowns, but they've been searching for that running back too to complement Austin, to keep him fresh. Isaiah Spiller could be that guy. Dane, what about you, bud?
Well, I'm really interested in see how JT Woods fits in this defense. Safety out of Baylor, who they drafted in the 3rd round. But I've got to go with Zion Johnson here. You can make the argument that no NFL team has done a better job with their first pick the last 2 years than the Chargers, with Herbert and Rashawn Slater, 2 legitimate all-pro talents. Maybe Cincinnati is the only other one with an argument with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But the Chargers have had back-to-back home runs, and they're hoping to make it 3 straight with Zion Johnson. He's got the talent to step in from day one, stabilize the interior of that offensive line. He's the complete package. Outstanding play strength. You see that athletic twitch. The reaction quickness is fantastic. He's a smart guy. He's got versatility, can play center, has experience at tackle. So the bar has been set high based off of the last 2 first picks for the Chargers. And so now it's, we'll see if Johnson can keep that streak going for the Chargers on offense.
You look at this revamped offensive line just over the last 2 seasons. Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, Corey Lindsley, and now Zion Johnson across the line. All right, next question. Biggest training camp battle, Steve. This Chargers team is more complete than it was last year, but there's still some positions that we're all checking out.
Well, you just mentioned 4 of the 5 on the offensive line. This spot at right tackle.
Clearly, I set you up, Steve.
You set me up, man. It was right there on a tee, Chris. I mean, that's clearly, the position that everybody is looking at right now, and that's an important position. You look at Trey Pipkins, you look at Filer. I mean, you don't necessarily want to put him out there, but he's got the possibility to do that. They've got to solidify that, because we talk about all the other teams in the division on what they do. Max Crosby plays that left defensive end, for the Raiders. He's got pressure on that right tackle. You look at what the Broncos have. Chubb can go either side. That is an important position, and you've got to have balance. You cannot continue to have to put a tight end over there for help in the run game, which tips the play call. You have to be able to do some things to solidify that position. And if they do, it just needs to be adequate. It doesn't need to be great. They have got enough on that offensive front to be able to run the ball and to protect, to win those situations.
That's perhaps the biggest matchup in camp. Dane, you got another one?
Yeah, and I'm glad Steve brought that up, because I'm interested to see if what we see out of Trey Pipkins. The Chargers drafted him in the 3rd round at a Division II level. This is kind of a make or break year for him. What is he going to be? Is he going to be a swing tackle? Is he going to be a guy that can win that right tackle job? There's a lot on the line for Trey Pipkins. But I want to talk about the running back depth chart as well. We know Austin Eckler at the top, one of the most versatile weapons in the league. But look at the Chargers and just their draft history. They want to find that backup and create a system of backs that they can take pressure off of Eckler. They've used a day 3 pick at running back in 4 of the last 5 drafts, including this past April with Isaiah Spiller, who Steve talked about. They drafted him in the 4th round. And so clearly they want some type of rotation so they don't run Eckler into the ground. So they can use different packages and keep defenses on their toes. So does Larry Roundtree, does he take a step up in year 2 as a pro? Joshua Kelly, he's the veteran of the group. So, and then you look at Spiller, he's going to be a hungry rookie. And I think one of the things you love about him is, with certain backs, if they're out there, it's going to be, you can kind of guess the play call based off of the strengths of that running back. With Spiller, I think that, you really don't know, because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run with power. He can be an inside-outside guy. So with all the different ways that Isaiah Spiller can hurt a defense, that's going to help him and get him on the field. So very interested to see how that training camp battle between all those running backs, how that shakes out.
All right, guys, final question. And Steve, there's so many marquee guys on this team, a lot of young up-and-comers too. Which player takes the biggest leap in 2022?
Asante Samuel. If he stays healthy at that corner, he only played 12 games last year, but it's important. Again, we keep looking. You can't talk about any team in the AFC West without talking about the competition in the AFC West, right? So now the Raiders go out and they get Devontae Adams. We know that the Broncos are loaded at wide receiver, right? So, this is a situation, and then the Chiefs, we'll see how they're going to mix things up. Are they going to go more tight end action, whatever? But Asante Samuel has got the skill set, right? We saw that from the gate. He's got the competitive nature. Now he's got some other veterans up front to put more pressure on the quarterback, as to where maybe he, all of those things can really work in combination with the pressure and the coverage, right? So I think he is going to actually, step up if he stays healthy and play well to meet that competition. He's got J.C. Jackson at the other side. The teams are coming at him. He's got no choice but to step up, honestly. So I think he's going to answer the call. And if he does, then, again, this is just one of these subtle little cogs and, one of the spokes in the wheel that are going to make the Chargers a likely playoff team.
Yeah, and that's a great point with Samuel and the offenses in that division, and just staying healthy. I think is going to be a big thing for Asante Samuel. Chris Rumph, I'm interested in. He might never be more than a sub-package rusher in the NFL, but you know what? That's okay. When you have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack as your starters, and then you sprinkle in some Chris Rumph, he could be a guy that gives you 8-9 sacks and creates consistent pressure, whether it's rushing from the A gap or it's off the edge, and he has that ability. So Chris Rumph in year 2, I'm interested in seeing. And then Gerald Everett, I don't know that he really qualifies as, a young guy. He's going to be in his 6th year now, but he's coming off a career year. Last year in Seattle, he had his best production to date. And you look at this Chargers offense, and Joe Lombardi loves to utilize the tight end with his play calling. The Chargers ranked top 10 in the NFL last year in tight end targets, tight end receptions, tight end touchdown catches. So with Jared Cook moving on, Everett, he's the new starter, and he's going to see plenty of action, and I possibly could have a career year with Justin Herbert throwing him the football.
Hey, real quick, Chris, on Everett, dynamic athlete, has the familiarity with Staley going back to the Rams. But Chris, you have to promise to do this at least every other appearance you have. You have got to utter what Dane just said, sprinkle in some Rumph. Classic line. Well done, Dane.
Dane maybe unintentionally just came up with some gold right there. Sprinkle in some Rumph. Man, I wish we could just fast forward to September 11th, week 1, but it starts in training camp, Jack Hammett Sports Complex in Costa Mesa. Steve Wyche, Dane Brugler, this has been CrossFire.
If you want to see more content like this, check out the link right here.